It's really speaking to one of the defenses that we anticipate is going to come up. So Trump is going to argue that these hush money payments were for many other reasons: business reputation, his family. He wanted to silence these Stormy Daniels, Karen McDonough, and the doorman in this case because they were going to have information that would be embarrassing to him. So that's central because, remember, this is falsification of business documents to cover up or in furtherance of another crime. That crime, presumably campaign finance laws, that these payments should have been campaign donations or qualified as that. So the prosecution has to show that that crime was committed. This testimony speaks to the heart of that. Pecker testified that the reason that they had this meeting, Trump, Michael Cohen, and himself, was because of the election and to suppress stories that were negative for Trump and also to put out stories that were negative for his political opponents. So it speaks to the heart of one of Trump's defenses.
Mark, yesterday you said this could have gone back years in terms of Pecker helping Trump, that this agreement may have gone back a long while. Maybe it was to keep things from Melania, who knows? But they were very clear today, Mark, that the agreement was made in 2015. And again, it was to help Trump in the 2016 election. So this doesn't seem like a good thing for Trump, Mark.
Not only that, but the other thing that Misty just mentioned that I think is even more problematic is the putting out stories that were negative on his competitors. That is something, if I'm the prosecution, I'm going to be hammering home, because that shows, look, you can embrace this idea, I didn't want Melania to know, I didn't want the family to know, but when you're doing hit pieces on your competitors at the very same time, that is, is his kryptonite here.
Yeah, it's a good point. And again, they're just trying to tie it all back to the election. I want to show you some of the headlines that you just mentioned. One of them was Donald Trump blasts Ted Cruz's dad for photo with JFK assassin. Bungling surgeon Ben Carson left sponge in patient's brain. Again, these are headlines that David Pecker came up with when he was publisher of the National Enquirer, all related back to the election. It seems like, Renato, this was sort of a slam dunk for the prosecution, sort of connecting that together, again, tying everything back to the election.
I agree. I mean, look, there's a reason why the prosecution's calling Mr. Pecker as a witness. There's a reason why they put him first on their list. They thought that not only is he going to help them, but he's going to be a very solid piece for them. You never, when you're a prosecutor, put your flippers, your more difficult witnesses, the Michael Cohens of the world, in the very beginning of your case. So I'm not surprised that they let off with somebody like him. And it is strong. You know, as Misty mentioned a moment ago, their focus is going to be on trying to connect this to an election election fraud crime, essentially the supposed conspiracy to defraud the election. That is what they're going for a felony. So I think that's going to be absolutely key. I think the most vital witnesses are going to be obviously in the middle of the case, the Michael Cohens of the world, some of those Trump Organization witnesses and so on.
The whole catch and kill aspect of this, Sean, it's so shady. And look, I get that politics are shady and celebrities are shady and they do all sorts of things behind the scenes. But is this unusual in the world of politics, Sean? Is this just a Trump thing, or do other politicians do this, where they pay publishers to say they're going to take stories just so that they'll secretly kill them?
No, I mean, I've never heard anyone do that, but I also, again, let's be clear on what's going on here. I mean, Donald Trump denies that that's what happened, that these were payments to Michael Cohen, his attorney at the time. But if I can, I just want to take a step back, because something that Misty said was important here, that to take this from a bookkeeping misdemeanor that it was, and it occurred in 2015, 2-year statute of limitations, and what they call enhance it, you have to prove that it was in furtherance of another crime, which is what she said. Well, that other crime is seemingly campaign finance related, which is what the FEC, the Federal Election Commission, the Department of Justice, the Southern District of New York, and Alvin Bragg's predecessor in the office, Cy Vance, have all passed on and said there was nothing there. This, I mean, think about it. These circumstances that we're talking about today occurred in 2015. It's 2024. All of the statute of limitations that would normally apply have well expired. If this wasn't Donald Trump, we wouldn't be even close to having this conversation right now.
Sean, this isn't like we're talking about a former president who committed treason here. I mean, this is the whole thing is about $130,000 that went to a porn star. Porn star. Even the last. I was just telling Misty the fact that the name of the last guy is Pecker. It's salacious. It's fun to talk about. But Sean, do you think voters really care? I mean, politically, does any of this really matter, or is it just make for like fun TV?
Well, I would say that I'm not sure that I agree with your definition of fun, but I think it's salacious TV. That being said, does it matter? And I think that the point that I would make with respect to this is twofold. One, tell me something you don't know about Donald Trump, and give me a break. I mean, I think the idea that anyone's looking at this news and saying, really, I didn't think anything like this could possibly happen with Donald Trump. You've been living under a rock for the last 10 years.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of News Nation's fact-driven coverage.